in this masjid for a very, very long time. And subhanAllah, there always has been that void of senior religious leadership. And subhanAllah, after a lot of search, a lot of time, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, Allah blessed us. We got a chance to meet with Sheikh Abdul Rahman Hijazi, and mashallah, he accepted to be here as a resident scholar for this masjid. He will be part-time for now. We will be scheduling, inshallah. We'll be putting out a schedule. But we encourage the community to look at his schedule, inshallah, and to take the most that we can and make the most use of his time, subhanAllah. I did a little bit of an introduction earlier in Jummah, but I'm going to just give you a little background, inshallah. Dr. Abdul Rahman Hijazi, in addition to all of his rigorous religious teachings that, learnings that he has done across the world. I mean, you can name from countries like Saudi Arabia, Syria, even part of his education in India. In addition to that, he is a PhD in computer science. He is a, mashallah, that's a big achievement. So not only religious leadership, but also we have the worldly education leadership here sitting with us, subhanAllah. And so he specializes in AI. So in tonight's talk, something that you're going to realize is that when you listen to him, you are going to hear from not only somebody from a religious perspective, but also from someone who has the educational background in computer science and in today's modern day situations and things, inshallah. Without further ado, I know you're here to listen to him, inshallah. But again, I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Dr. Hijazi for accepting this position and gracing our community with your wisdom and with your knowledge, inshallah. And inshallah, we hope that this will be a beautiful start of a beautiful relationship, inshallah, that everybody will benefit from. And we ask Allah to accept from all of us. Jazakallah khair.
I'll use this, inshallah. Jazakum Allah kul khair. Barakallah fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I can't express how much I'm delighted and happy to be with you, wallahi. Jazakum Allah khair. But maybe I can refer to a time in 2010. I came here to visit my sister, and I was in the middle of transition between my PhD and my first employment with Microsoft. So I'm Canadian before I became US citizen, so for them they wanted to do my visa, a TN visa. So it took some time from TN to H1B. And then, so they told me you can stay wherever you want until we get this paperwork done. So I decided to come and visit my sister in Sugarland. I stayed about 4 months. And subhanAllah, it was my pleasure and my honor to come to this masjid. And I still remember, because I came before coming here, I was in California, in Santa Clara. And I had a great relationship with Sheikh Suhaib Webb, if you know him. So subhanAllah, I was praying here, and I thought this is a free time from being an Imam, from being a speaker. So I just want to be just like anyone else, stand behind the Imam and pray just like normal. And then all of a sudden, I see someone tapping on my shoulder, and it was Suhaib Webb, Jazallah khair. He said, "What are you here doing?" And I told him the story. Then the next day, and I don't remember the name, but the AD of Masjid Maryam came to me, and he said, "We want to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh my God, what trouble did I make? Wallahi, I'm escaping from everything." So he said, "Can you lead us during your stay? We heard from Suhaib Webb, and we would like you to be with us." So I spent about 3 to 4 months leading the prayer here. And I think some of you already remember that time. But for me, it was a great exposure, great experience that I always thought, is there a possibility I can come back to Masjid Maryam? And here we go, alhamdulillah. So barakallah fikum, jazakumullahu khairan. For tonight's topic, I feel that I would like to mix between technical terms and as well as some Sharia term. And just to give a little bit of introduction about some of my work that I have done. For 5 years, I was working as a security and privacy manager at Microsoft. And during that time, I was I was in a team in charge of the security and privacy for O365. And we were moving from the on-the-shelf product into the cloud. So privacy has been a great eye-opening for me on how it works and all the different things related to privacy and how to protect children, how to protect personal data and all that stuff. So I was, at the time when the beginning of social media started, so that was 2011, 2012. And at that point in time, subhanAllah, I discovered how much the companies are leveraging the data of people to make their own business. In fact, they used to say that Microsoft is a software company. Google, on the other hand, is a data company. So they live on data. They take your data for free and they sell it to others, whether it is on advertisement or whatever it is. Google search, that's exactly what they do. So the point here is that what really I developed in understanding like the internal things of those social media products, and at that time, we didn't really have much. I mean, we had Facebook and maybe two more that perhaps now no one is using them. But it was really eye-opening for me that many of the Muslims got into traps of using social media very openly, exposing all their data, exposing all their interests, showing the company what networks they have and what interests them to watch and whatnot. And then the company is building their profile behind the scenes. And they know exactly what advertisement to expose to them. And they know who they hang with because they don't know the network now. And for me, this was a big thing because most of the Muslims, or most of the people, regardless of their faith, didn't know about that. And they took things very innocently. The sad news is that, this continued to be the case without raising awareness to the community members, whether in the masajid or elsewhere. So I started to have this interest of getting to make those sessions where we talk a bit about where we're going and what we need to worry about. So that's where I came with this topic tonight, which is about the scrolling. And scrolling, I guess, is not very recent. It's been there for a while, but I think what is more recent now is the brain rot. And that, they come together now, and they are causing a lot of damage to the Muslim community. In general, I want to start with one story that Imam Ibn Kathir has reported in his book, Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya. He said that there was once a battle where the Muslims were surrounding a city in Syria, what we call Syria. I'm from Syria, by the way. I'm from Damascus. So they were around a city there, and apparently it took them some time before they were able to get through. So there was a young man who was known for his Quran memorization. He was known for doing Qiyam al-Layl. He was known for being one of the most, mashallah, respectful young men in the army. He used to do Qiyam al-Layl, and everyone would just be so happy to hear his voice in the Quran. The sad news is that he was in charge of monitoring or looking from above the castle on the people so that they, once there is a gap or something, that they can get through it and get through inside the city. And Ibn Kathir reported that this man, while he was watching, he glanced a lady who was Christian, and it seems that it was just like, subhanAllah, a poisoned arrow in his heart. So he was very much afflicted by that. So he decided that he wants to go and propose for her. And instead of him watching how things are going so that he would help the Muslims to go and open the city, he was watching for an opportunity for him to go alone into the city and try to propose to this lady. And so he did. And he managed to go by himself, and he found that house that he saw from a distance. He went to propose for that lady. So the parents saw this, and they told him, we will only be accepting this proposal on one condition, that you become Christian. And his desire was very overwhelming. So he decided to say, yes, I will convert. He converted into Christianity, and he got married to this lady. After a few months, Muslims managed to get inside the city, and they found the man. So the question that they asked him, they said, ماذا فعلت بالقرآن? What did you do with the Quran that was in your heart? And Imam Ibn Kathir said that his response was, نسيته إلا قول الله ربما يود الذين كفروا لو كانوا مسلمين. He said, I forgot the entire Quran, except this one verse in Surah Al-Hijr, where Allah says, ربما يود الذين كفروا لو كانوا مسلمين, which means that perhaps the disbelievers would wish that they were Muslims. So it was really that one single sight that he had that changed his entire life, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, and changed him from not only Muslim to kafir, changed him from Hafidh al-Quran into a kafir, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. That's what we see these days. And I want to say a few examples with few numbers, and I hope that you don't take that as exaggeration, because I truly don't like to say things like out of their proportion. So I met with many young kids, and I'm calling them kids, but I mean like teenagers. And I still remember there was this girl who came to me. Her name was Zainab. And she said, I want to get married to this man who was a Muslim revert, white Canadian man. I said, okay. But she said, but I'm now atheist. I said, what? She said, yeah, I'm originally Muslim, but I became atheist. So I brought him with me to check if his marriage to me is Islamically acceptable, because now he is becoming Muslim. Just imagine. I mean, I mean it. The man was Christian, became Muslim. The woman was Muslim, became atheist. And they came. So I asked her just one single question. What made you atheist? She said, my father was very practicing Muslim. My mother was the same. But I went to the public school, and they did not give that much of attention to me. I got introduced to so many different religions through my friends, and she was living in Ottawa, Canada. And then she said, I just checked everything, and I'm not convinced with any religion anymore. And when I went back to my family, my father and my mother just treated me very badly, because I was giving them some suspicion or some challenging questions. And I decided I won't relate myself to any religion. Now, this was because of some misrelationship between her and her parents, and of course what she was exposed to in her public school. What we see nowadays is that in addition to the very very weak relationship that parents have with their children, in addition to the challenges they meet at their school, being exposed to all different type of people, different religion, and different practices. In addition to all of that, they have the social media and the impact of the devices. And as if you have heard the khutbah that I made, if you go to review.com, they have a recent survey about 6 months ago where they surveyed many people from the boomers to the Gen Z on how many hours do you spend working on the devices, scrolling. And this was specific to social media, primarily TikTok, primarily. But it also includes others. And they found out that this is 3 hours per day for the boomers and 5 hours per day on average for the Gen Z. Anyone from the Gen Z can tell me if this matches their experience? Anyone? Huh? Huh? How long do you spend on scrolling? How long? Nothing? 1 hour? Good for you. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. And you're doing good stuff, of course. Okay, so I think the issue is becoming so tense and so bad, so much so that many parents now started to have, some therapist counseling and psychiatrists counseling for their children because of the different behavior that they started to see on them. And I would love that we talk about some key issues and then talk about key, hopefully key solutions. And then and I would like to make this as interactive as possible. So I have this microphone with me, and I don't know if I should just pass it or maybe the one who would talk would say it out loud. Either way, inshallah. I'll keep it here. So let me start by talking about just few terminologies here. There's scrolling, where you take TikTok and you go from one to another. You scroll with your fingers. And there's what we call it doom scrolling. And doom scrolling is primarily scrolling, but with the negative content of what you scroll. So for example, you're scrolling some sad news, bad news, bad content of like, some bad things to hear and watch. And then there is this term which is called the brain rot, which is now coined term because it just reflects, subhanAllah, the current usage of those social media. In particular, that anything silly, anything that is nonsense becomes popular. Like the path for you to become popular is not being a graduate from Harvard. Is not being a person who got Nobel Prize. By the way, recently one Muslim man got Nobel Prize. Anyone knows his name? Huh? Anyone knows the name of this Muslim man who recently got Nobel Prize in chemistry? Allahu Akbar. Yes? Umar, yes, his name is Umar. He is from Palestine. He is from Palestine. He is a professor in Berkeley, University of California at Berkeley. SubhanAllah, I know some of his students, mashallah, they praise him even in his religious practice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him. Those things do not make a person popular these days. Do not make a person someone that people look up to. But someone like Andrew Tate, in maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago, he became so famous. He was a person who would drive Bugatti, who would be living in mansions. He would smoke a big cigar, and he would have all those tattoos, drink alcohol. And he is very confident man, and subhanAllah, he became celebrity, and I think he does martial arts as well. But then what happened, he became Muslim. And when he became Muslim, most of the Muslim kids were after him. They were just, they registered in his war game, whatever they called it, and they became part of their, of his big fan group. And some of the network or social network that he had, or some of the systems that he had, require people to pay fees. And I still remember, wallahi, a parent came to me saying, Sheikh, pray for my son. My son stole money from my pocket, and after investigation, I found that it was my son. And when I asked him, he said I couldn't afford paying to register in Andrew Tate Club, or whatever they call it, which was costing $500. And you know what they gain out of it? They go there and then they go into some social rooms, like online rooms, and then they hear people talking about how you can become an entrepreneur. Have you heard this word? Entrepreneur. Now, every Gen Z want to become an entrepreneur. And they think and they believe that they don't have to study for it, because Andrew Tate at that time made himself so popular, so rich, without going through any university. You know what he used to call universities? Anyone remember this word? Huh? The matrix. Did you hear this word? Matrix? No, okay. Well, he used to call universities part of as matrix, and he would describe them as part of conspiracy, a worldwide conspiracy to spend people's time in universities and then pay them peanuts by the time they graduate. So what he was convincing people is that you perhaps can become a millionaire in a very short time without going through all that system, this garbage system. Many of our youth have actually listened to him. And I know it, wallahi, I know it very well, especially during COVID time, when those children were staying at home and they couldn't really go out. Andrew Tate was at his very early stage, and he got his popularity during that time. And he became then Muslim, and of course that gave them even further justification to follow him. The sad news was that many of our kids have left universities. Andrew Tate was known for his masculinity promotion. Many of the Muslim families have complained that their boys are always in bad term with their girls, and then they discovered that this was fed by Andrew Tate and his friends. Why am I picking on Andrew Tate? Because he became Muslim. Because he wasn't alone. There are many like Andrew Tate, but he was Muslim, or he became Muslim. I don't know what his state right now, but when he became Muslim, many of the kids said, see, that's the person who knows our religion. Frankly, one of the things that have happened is that those celebrity people who are promoting their business or their ideology through those TikTok, Instagram, shorts of YouTube, you name them, they manage to convince their fans or their followers of one thing. If you want to be successful in your life, wallahi, I heard it. Wallahi, I saw it. Wallahi, it's very true. They have a common statement. If you want to be successful in your life, then don't listen to your parents. Wallah. Wallah. That is very popular. If you want to be successful, don't listen to your parents. Because your parents are still living the boomers, or what is before boomers? What is the generation before boomers? What do they call them? The ancient one? Huh? Stone Age? Yeah, it is Stone Age, yeah. I'm Stone Age, unfortunately. Yeah. So they say that and I still remember one by the name of Followay. He said that the only reason I became so good and so successful in my business is because I did not listen to my parents when they told me go to school, when they insisted that I have to go to college. So anyways, I'm saying these to tell you what brain rot is. Brain rot is actually making it possible for people like those who have nothing to offer to become so popular, because now they are showing people how luxury their life is and how happy they are. And of course, they make the people just a dream to have something like them. In addition, we have also those different groups that promote dancing, promote singing, promote all the silly stuff, other silly stuff that they could come with. And the more silly you upload to TikTok, the more watches or the more views that you get, sadly speaking. I want to move to a next point, but before that, anyone has any other name or something that clicks in your mind about this? That how silly the content of those social media is becoming these days? Anyone want to add something? Please. I'm learning from you. Huh? Anything to add? طيب, no problem. If you ever try TikTok, and let's talk about TikTok because it's the most impactful social media platform in America, in North America. It is, by far. It has the highest market share. The people who use TikTok, by far, way more than any other platform. Instagram comes next, I believe. The thing about TikTok is that in no time, wallahi, you can open TikTok except that you see something haram. Could anyone say no to that? There's no time that you open TikTok for any purpose. Even if someone sends you a link, you go to that link in TikTok, and just the next video comes with haram. And even if you want to just close it immediately, you will get some maybe fraction of a second that you see something haram. No one can deny this. The sad news is that, remember that guy that Imam Ibn Kathir has talked about? The one who looked at a woman and walayadu billah, it was a reason for him not only to change his religion, but also to forget all his Quran. Similarly, many of our youth, when they get this link on TikTok, even if they're not using it, they will go to it, they will watch it, perhaps it has something good. But then the video that comes next to it is where the haram comes. And even if it were a blink of an eye, even if it were just a glance moment for them to see the haram, that sticks to their minds. And that makes them always eager to find something more and more. They talk about the dopamine and how they manage to increase that in someone's brain. I don't really know or understand this very much, but I do believe that once you start scrolling, you just cannot count the number of hours that you spent. Because each one sends you to the next one that is even more exciting to you. And the algorithms that they have built on those platforms or social media is so clever. And I say clever, not smart. Clever in the negative sense. They're so clever. They know exactly how to trap you. Be it by understanding what interests you the most. Because usually, the way when you scroll, by the way, you see the beginning of it, the first few seconds of it, and then you see this is not of interest, so you scroll to the next one, right? And by you doing this, the algorithm learns that the past one was not of your interest. And then the one that you spend more time, it gives you more of that thing. And if you search for something, it remembers that. And if someone sends you a link, it knows that. If you send the link to someone else, meaning that you are appreciating, you're so happy with what you have seen, then they remember that. And that algorithm develops a profile for every person, and it knows exactly how to excite a person. And there are millions of those episodes that they can choose, pick and choose the ones that are directly influencing the person who is scrolling. So that's how it goes, unfortunately. And people, not only that they see, they waste their time, but also every time they go to a new one, they will see some of the haram. And that haram sticks to the mind more than what the halal that they were going for sticks to their minds. You know why? Because shaitan is always able to show haram in a way more interesting fashion. So the excitement that comes from haram is way more than what comes from halal. This is, subhanAllah, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created shaitan to do. Shaitan does entice people. قال فبعزتك لأغوينهم أجمعين. Shaitan, Iblis, made an oath by the honor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the mighty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he will trap everyone. Then he said, إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمْ الْمُخْلَصِينَ, except those those servants of yours who are truly sincere to their religion. And that is, subhanAllah, where we see that people who start this habit of scrolling, usually they change their behavior in front of their parents, in front of their siblings, in front of their friends. Have you seen when you have dinner together and as a family, do you see that your children are placing their devices in front of them? Do you see that? Or are they all device-free meeting and let's just enjoy our company? Which one? Huh? Everyone with their device, right? And the father would like to say a word of wisdom. Dad, did you hear that? I hear it all the time. I have 5 kids. We already know this. It's not interesting to them anymore. You know why? Because the excitement they get in a very short period of time with those social media is way more impactful to them than anything a human could say, naturally speaking. So we have now multiple issues. There's this issue of wasting time. There's this issue of losing relationship with the Quran and losing relationship with the religious learning and any interest of learning about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the Sahaba, about what benefit them in the hereafter. But we have also this isolation issue. And most of the time, kids who, not only kids, even adults, who spend those long hours on social media, what happens is that they isolate themselves from the public and from their friends. You know why? It's much easier for a person to upload a video about themselves where they have full control of their actions, of their words, and they can repeat that video recording multiple times until it is perfect and send it to people. That's easy. And they will get all thumbs up, they will get likes, they will get all of this. The problem is now that they cannot do the same in real time. Like when I talk to you now, I cannot control my words. I will do mistakes for sure. I perhaps cannot even control my gestures, my movements. Any of that I cannot control. And I don't have a mirror to see, okay, should I correct this? Okay, maybe let me give a bitter smile. I don't have that. So what happens is that they get all those likes and thumbs up on their postings, but when they go in real life, people get so surprised. Is that you? Is that you? Seriously? And did you hear that even boys are using makeups these days? Did you know that? Did you know that many of the speakers, men speakers, they use makeups? They want to hide, what is that called, Botox? Or I don't know the word. They want to hide the skin, the aging of their skin. They want to hide certain different colors. They want their hair to become black. Some of them put bra. Astaghfirullah al-azim. All this is happening now, even for men. Even for men, to make their shape look in a certain way that is attractive, or make it interesting, or make it more silly so that they get more likes. The problem here is that every time they go to the real life, they find themselves that they cannot get the same attention of the very people that they made as followers in their social media. And that makes them always feel depressed. So they isolate themselves. And they live in what they call it, the virtual world. They just cannot, they cannot stand in front of others and be the person who he is. The same thing applies to women, sadly speaking. And so that is another thing. Now, the fourth point is that, subhanAllah, the attention span becomes so short. Did you hear about a country recently who decided to remove all the devices from their teaching system? Did you hear about this? Which one was it? Huh? Huh? No, not. I didn't hear about China. It could be, but the country that recently announced that they are no more going to use devices in their public education system is Sweden. Sweden. They said that we made research and we found out that using devices at school for learning, for teaching, is not a good thing. It's not a good practice. It's actually, it's damaging their cognitive ability, and their attention span is going low because of these devices. And you can imagine, because every scroll in 3 minutes, you get a lot of things, right? And then you go for another 3 minutes, and then another 3 minutes. And every time you move from one to another, you know what you're doing? You're doing what they call it context switching. And context switching means that you are throwing everything now in your mind on the side, and you start developing another context in your mind, right? And you do that multiple times in every 3 minutes. And guess what that causes? People are no more able to concentrate or focus more than 3 minutes or 5 minutes. That's number one. And number two, you have now a short memory. Because you're just not able to extend your memory to go beyond the episode time that you are watching. So all of these, subhanAllah, are coming together. One last thing I would like to say is that depression and anxiety. There is something called, and I learned about this when I was still at Microsoft. So this was 2013. 2013, a psychiatrist, professor, and doctor gave us at Microsoft a session about something called Facebook depression. At that time, Facebook was a big thing. And for me, it was really something I couldn't imagine. Like, what is Facebook depression? Facebook depression means that when you have your page, and people are not showing interest in it, and then you have peers or you have friends who got more attention than you, then that causes depression. And by the way, this is very common between our kids. Every time they look at their social media, they compare themselves to others. Let me tell you why. Someone who is recently got married is going to the honeymoon, Bahama, all the nice pictures, hugging his wife, mashallah, with all this nice drink and food, and they posted on their social media. At the time when their friends see it, their friend was having a fight with his wife. What happens? They just compare the worst thing they have with the best thing that others are having. And that causes what? When that comes repeatedly, that is what caused depression. And many people got depressed because of this. So let me tell you one Islamic thing about this. Rasulullah ﷺ has said, "Ista'inu ala injahi hawaijikum bil kutman, fa inna kulla dhi ni'matin mahsud." Which means, when you have some affairs that you are working on, when you have some project, initiative that you're working on, Rasulullah ﷺ is saying, get yourself helped or aided by not disclosing what you're working on to the people, to the public. And then he explained why. He said, فَإِنَّ كُلَّ ذِي نِعْمَةٍ مَحْسُودٍ. Because everyone who is enjoying a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people will feel jealous. People will feel envy. And they will not let him go. They will just continue, subhanAllah, say, I wish I'm this person. And sometimes they go even worse when they say, he doesn't even deserve it, I deserve it. So, Suhaib Webb, I mentioned his name. When I was in Santa Clara, I remember we talked about Facebook. And he told me, I gave it a different name. I said, what is your name for Facebook? He said, Nifaq book. You know what Nifaq means? Hypocrisy book. And you know why he is calling it Nifaq book? He said, because I never saw any person in the mosque having a Facebook profile, except that they choose pictures that will give the best look for them. So, for example, if he has an injury here, he will make the photo facing this direction. He would smile, he would try to hide some of the thing, you know, some of his aging skin, all that stuff. And they will make it, they apply some, what is it called, Photoshop cosmetics, and then they place it on Facebook, and that's it. And subhanAllah, people upload only the greatest things of them. They gave donation, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, this is the only video that they upload. But when they do their mistakes, when they do all their bad things, of course, no one knows. So there is really that element of hypocrisy to Facebook. And I'm not saying Facebook because it's the only book. It's actually almost every social media. People are just showing the things that can get the attraction of others the most. At the beginning, at the time when Facebook started, people were still were impressed with things that make sense. For example, someone got his PhD from MIT. So he's showing his PhD with a smile. And people are like, congratulations. Okay, nice. But later, subhanAllah, people started to have all this nonsense because not so many people can brag about an MIT certificate. I mean, most of the people don't have that. So what they do, they want anything that can make people impressed, and they go with those different things. So what I'm trying to say is that, subhanAllah, you look at it from every angle, and sadly speaking, almost 90% of the angles, it is total damage to our community, total damage to the people. Now, I still remember when I got my bachelor degree, the internet was at the beginning of the time. And at that time, I still remember that, I'm sure you heard this. The internet started as a military project here in America. But what happened when they released it to the public, what made internet very fastly growing and like spread like a virus, you know what was it? What content made the internet spread all over? Pornography. I'm sure people will be like, what? Yeah, it is. Pornography was the thing that made internet widely acceptable in the society. Walayadu billah. So many of the mashayikh, many of the ulama started to say, don't use the internet, it's haram, it causes you all this damage. Sad news is that they could not control that. And every human uses internet now. Similarly, when we started this social networks, many of the ulama were like, don't use it, it's haram, it causes all this. Unfortunately, almost everyone has it. Even me, I have now Instagram, which I don't own it, the masjid own it, but it's still under my name. And now we have this generative AI, and many of the mashayikh are like, don't use it, it gives you wrong fatwa and all that. But everyone is now using it. So, by mentioning all these bad things, I'm not getting into conclusion, don't use it. No. What I'm trying to get to is, how could we have a guideline? How could we have a best practices that we can, inshallah, share with everyone, and that we help each another to learn on the positive way of using those social media without being impacted by all the devil that is in it. And I want to say 3 things, and then I will just open the floor for everyone, inshallah. One thing that we need to remember from the Quran and the Sunnah is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Don't utter anything that is coming out of ignorance. For verily, your hearing, your sight, and your heart will be all challenged and questioned on the day of judgment. So in Islam, Rasul ﷺ has said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whoever believes in Allah and the day of judgment, let them say good or be quiet. Allah also says in Surah Wash-Shamsi wa Duhaha, Allah talks about the heart or the soul. And Allah said, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. That he or she will be the winner for those who have purified their souls and their hearts. And those who, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, did the haram, they are going to regret that on the day of judgment. So having all these brings us to something, which is every act that we do, every scroll that you do, you will be asked about it on the day of judgment. And you better be ready for the answer. Why am I doing this? Why am I watching this episode or this video? Most of the time it's just out of curiosity. But that curiosity is coming with all these bad things that we just mentioned. So that is the number one thing, which is, I want to always remind myself, what is the purpose of me spending this half an hour now on scrolling on Instagram? And keep asking yourself, for every scroll that you do, is that getting myself closer to Allah or not? I know this is difficult, but this is one way to start. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu used to make a nice dua. And he would say it every day. We're talking about the second man after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr, right? So Umar in his dua used to say, Allahumma rzuqni dhikraka fi kulli hin, wa dhikra al-maut ala kulli hal. Oh Allah, bless me with the remembrance of yours at all times. And bless me with the remembrance of death at every state. This is very important. In most of our times, when we spend those hours, we just ignore or perhaps totally forget about the Day of Judgment, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watching us, about death. How many times you heard about people getting their heart attack at a time when they were not expecting it? Similarly, it could happen while we are scrolling. And it could happen at any time, at any state. So Umar ibn al-Khattab, the one who was closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Sahaba, like Abu Bakr, he would ask Allah every single day, "Arzuqni dhikraka fi kulli hin." Bless me or provide for me, Ya Allah, your remembrance at all times, and the remembrance of death at every state that I have. So that's number one. Number two is that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said in the authentic hadith, لن تزول قدم عبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن أربع، عن عمره فيما أفناه، شبابه فيما أبلاه، ماله من أين اكتسبه وفيما أنفقه، وعلمه ماذا عمل به. Every human in the Day of Judgment will be asked about four things. First one is their life, what they did with it. What are your contributions in your life? What did you do? Subhanallah, if you look at the contributions of someone like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, you just cannot describe it in volumes. But then think about others. Think about yourself. What are the contributions that I can say, I can be proud about in the Day of Judgment in front of Allah? And you would see, subhanAllah, how much we are losing our most valuable asset, which is our lives. Every day, when a person says, I don't have anything to do, they are actually killing that day, and they are wasting a day from their whole life. They are actually reducing their productivity in a way that they will regret that on the Day of Judgment. So they will be asked about their life, what they have done, and they will be asked about their youth time, which is part of your life, but which means that they will be asked about that youth period twice. Once as part of their life, and another time as being this special time for them as youth. And then they will be asked about their money. Where did they get it from and where they spend it at? And then they will be asked about their knowledge. What did they do with it? And subhanAllah, the knowledge now that we have is those silly things. Have you heard about 6-7? Have you heard about it? I know, yeah. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? All these, you may say, Sheikh, and he does this. Yes, unfortunately, because I see the kids and I have to work with them. This is the language now. This is the new language of the Gen Z. And we don't know it. And unfortunately, it's becoming more of education. You need to educate yourself. Otherwise, no one would respect you or no one would even care about you. I still remember we have a little child in Masjid, Champions Masjid. So he came to me, he goes to a Muslim Islamic school, and mashallah, he has a great mother who always pushes him to come and listen to me. So he would sit just next to me. So one day he brought me a letter and he said, this is a message I'm sending to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a letter. I don't know where he got this idea from, but anyways, he said, Sheikh, I wrote a letter to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and I mentioned your name. So I read it and it says, O Rasulullah, I now have a new BFF. And I was like, what? What is BFF? Sheikh, you don't know that? Of course I don't know. It happened to be best friend forever. And I was like, alhamdulillah, at least I got something good. So, but the thing here is that we were talking about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would ask you about all the time and all the money and all the knowledge. And sadly speaking, the knowledge now is that they call the universities matrix. They call Islamic religion, religious education as, useless. And by the way, this is very common now, that many of our next generation, even adults, are saying, in the presence of Gen AI, be it ChatGPT or any other one, we no more need mashayikh. We no more need scholars. Because you can ask the question and it gets you right away. But you know what they are missing? They're missing that it's not about knowledge. It's about practicing the knowledge. And even if we assume that the knowledge is 100% accurate that comes from Gen AI, but then that's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have. Allah wants us to act with the knowledge of Quran, with the knowledge of the Sunnah, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save us in the hereafter. Okay, so last thing I would like to say is that, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam always reminded us to do something righteous. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يُصْبِحُ عَلَى كُلِّ سُلَامَ مِنْكُمْ صَدَقَةً. That every day, every piece of bone that you have in your hand or otherwise will require a sadaqah. فَتَسْبِيحَةٌ لَا صَدَقَةٌ تَحْمِيدَةٌ لَا صَدَقَةٌ تُعِينُ صَانِعًا صَدَقَةٌ. So he said that when you say subhanallah, that's sadaqah. When you say alhamdulillah, sadaqah. When you help someone, that is sadaqah. When you smile in front of someone, it is sadaqah. So every day you have so plenty things to do as sadaqat. One day, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with his companions and he asked a question. He said, "Man asbaha minkum al-yawma sa'ima?" Who among you started his day today fasting? Abu Bakr said, "Ana, I did." Now he is not bragging, he is answering Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. "Man at'ama minkum al-yawma miskina?" Who among you shared food with a needy person? And Abu Bakr said, "I did, Ya Rasulullah." "Man 'ada minkum al-yawma maridan?" Who among you went to visit a sick person? Abu Bakr said, "Ana." He then said, "Man tabi'a minkum al-yawma janaza?" Who among you followed a funeral? Abu Bakr said, "Ana." Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is making this as pub quiz. This is not something that he said, "Okay, tomorrow I will ask you about your best deeds," and then everyone is prepared. No. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all of a sudden, he surprised them with this question. And can you imagine if they happen in the same day in one person, it means that this person is always doing this. Otherwise, perhaps today he is feeding a needy, tomorrow he's visiting a sick person, after tomorrow he's fasting. But to happen all on the same day, it means that this is his habit. He does not let any of those righteous good deeds go without him leveraging his time with it. So he ﷺ said, مَجْتَمَعْنَا فِي امْرِئٍ فِي يَوْمٍ إِلَّا دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ. That those four qualities will never happen to a person in one day except that this is a reason for the person to go to Jannah. So my third point is, there are so many things that we can do to take us away from this device. And not necessarily just prayer, not necessarily just remembrance of Allah. Go and do something physical. Get engaged in all those projects where you help the needies, where you go and visit the sick people. Go and find how you can help the refugees. We have so many refugees here in this community. in all Houston. Go and find out a way to knock doors, see what you can do to help them. You know who is helping them right now? Churches. Churches. Christians. We are sleeping. Go find a way. There are so many different things you can do, physically and with your tongue and with your mental and your heart deeds. So those three things are hopefully some very good starting point for a person, inshallah, to think about how they can work around the problem of wasting their time on this brain rot or scrolling. I know we have spent about an hour, so if you don't mind taking 5 more minutes, inshallah, and I want you to help me with something that is not religious, but some good practice that can help people to control their time, control what they see, and meaning the content of what they are watching and what they are scrolling. So just give me a word. Like, for example, you can tell me, limit the time that you use on the social media, for example, and you tell me how. Anything. Yeah. I need your help. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Louder, please. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Right. 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 Okay. The brother is saying, choose what you share with others, right? Choose the content that you share with others. And I would like to add to it, choose the people that you will be friends with on the social media very wisely. Because what happens is that when you connect with a person, usually you will be the first one to be notified when they add a new content, right? Or when they thumb up on something, or when they give a comment on, on anything. The sad thing is that if your friends are those who would spend their time on the nonsense or in the haram, then you will be the first victim for them. So pick and choose the people that you work with or that are friends of yours in the social media. Yes, Akhi. Go ahead. Yeah, the brother is saying deactivate the account and delete the app. Well, I don't know if people can do that. Frankly speaking, I would love that people will use the apps in a very positive way so that they become, inshallah, useful for the people. And hopefully, inshallah, in the next time, we want to talk about how we can use social media to improve the Islamic da'wah. Inshallah, this is one of the planned things. Yes, Akhi. Yes, go ahead. Right. So I think what I'm getting from you is be accountable. Bring accountability to every day and check what you're doing. By the way, there is a feature in iPhone, I don't know about Android, where it shows you how much time you spend on each application, right? Did you see that? Okay. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it and you will be shocked. Like, anything else, inshallah, from? Yes, sister. What is it? The do not disturb. Yes, I love that. Absolutely. Do not disturb is a great feature, especially if you do it at certain times in the day and the night. Especially, for example, don't disturb during prayer times, at the time when you want to go to bed. This is perfect. Jazakallah khair. Anything else, sisters? Mm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very sadly. Correct. 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 So I think reviving the social bonding between family members is very crucial. Jazakallah khair. Yes, Akhi. Right. 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 MashaAllah. Excellent. So what he is saying is that it starts slowly with small chunks of time doing good deeds, like reading Quran, doing adhkar, and part of it would be social media, and then try to increase and maximize the beneficial one more and more, inshallah. Yes, sister, go ahead. Say it again, you can make? Oh, you can make a timer for each app. Yes, and did that work? Well, I tried to do it with my WhatsApp and it didn't work because every time I set the timer to go even more and more. But I think this is a good one for people who have self-discipline. Jazakallah khair, sister. Yes. Well, we already spent all the 5 minutes, Habibi. If there's something quick, say it. Okay. Anything quick? Jazakallah khair. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Sure, sure. So the question is, how is parenting control working with the kids? When you block an application or you block certain communication. My experience with that is very negative. It doesn't work. And our kids are way more smarter than us. They will find a way to go around it. So don't even think. The most important thing, with our kids is to plant the seed of love to Allah and His Messenger so that they have self-discipline. That is, in my opinion, the most effective way of getting our children to stay away from haram. And I hope, inshallah, this will be an area of focus, inshallah, in the future. But I don't believe in today's time, in today's type of world, that we can control anyone. No way. And I can tell you, even my son, I am, by the way, my PhD is in machine learning, using machine learning for cybersecurity. So I'm specialized in this. So I was trying to apply cybersecurity at my home. Unfortunately, I found myself to be very, very dumb because my son brought another device from his friend. So he was showing me, Baba, I cannot go to this website because you have a parent control or you have something on it. But behind the scene, he was using his friend's device. So what is the advantage? I didn't know about this until later. Yes, any last thing from the sisters? Yes, go ahead, sister. Yeah. Allah يجزيك الخير. I think this is a great point, which is, we call it in Arabic, المرء قليل بنفسه كثير بإخوانه, that a person might be weak by himself or herself, but can be strong with others. And I think having this transparent relationship with the family, especially with the parents, and perhaps the siblings, would allow the person to have even an encouraging power from others so that they will spend their time, inshallah, in the right way. طيب. So maybe we can stop here, inshallah. I truly appreciate the time that you gave me, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with more of this. My next topics, as I said, I want to talk about how planting the seed of love to Allah and His Messenger. That's one thing. The other thing is really talking about how we can use social media for da'wah ilallah Azza wa Jal and to make it very positive in our community. And I have a very dear topic to my mind that I would like to talk about, which is generative AI, inshallah. Hopefully we will do that soon. جزاكم الله كل خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بارك الله فيكم يا رب. جزاكم الله خيرا.